my all-time favorite interventions, a good friend of mine. And I think maybe part of the reason I like it so much is because when I was in my teacher preparation program, I learned that this is a must, like you have to do this. And then it turns out years later in or even after graduate school, I think this study came out to sort of provide the definitive evidence, but I felt like I'd been doing it all along. Simply getting students, well, actually it's two parts. So one is to connect students, the tasks that they're doing in the classroom to some real world application that's important to them. And so this particular, the study's been done a couple times. The first one was in looking at science. So, you know, I think it was maybe 9th or 10th graders who had, you know, could have been anything that they were working on in their science units, and they just had to write little paragraphs about, so how does this connect to something at home in your real life? Why is this useful? And so the second piece of this intervention that I think is so key is not just the making connections, but it's the fact that the students had to make their own connections. So it wasn't the teacher doing it for them. And that kind of takes us back to this idea of autonomy. But also it makes intuitive sense, right? The teacher's not going to necessarily know quite enough. I mean, it'd be great if they did, but to know enough about each student's sort of individual habits and hobbies and personal interests. But even if the teacher did have that sort of robust knowledge about every single student in class, having the student write it out for themselves just sort of reifies that, like, oh yeah, this is a worthwhile topic. I am interested because it does connect to my interest in this other thing. And so again, it's sort of an autonomy supportive practice, but it helps them see these connections between what they're doing in the classroom and what they're experiencing at home on their own in the real world.